Right now we are at the Anne-Sandy Cross Conservation Area, and you're getting a view of the cross. And we're just moving into Calgary. Now right there, that's 22X, and that's going to connect to the new ring road. And the ring road is good in terms of helping Calgary with its traffic, but those lights are coming farther and farther out into the country, into dark sky, and it can interfere with the nocturnal wildlife we have. And you can see the sky glow once the camera focuses again. And there's downtown.
So this is one of our fully shielded lights. It's below 3000 Kelvin, so you get the really warm yellowy glow. All the light is going downwards, and it's actually a motion sensor light at all as well. So unless somebody walks by here, it's not actually going to be activated at night.
There's astronomical light pollution, which impacts our ability to see the stars. And then there's ecological light pollution, which is more that I'm talking about here on its impacts with animals. The thing with light pollution is it really causes a decrease in biodiversity. So biodiversity is the number of animals that are in a given location. Now, light pollution seems to do two different things to animals. It either causes them to become attracted to it. So different insects, they'll aggregate around the lights, and this causes them to become really, really tired as they go around in circles. And it also is a good zone for predators to eat them. So because of that, there can be a lot more pressure on insects. And another thing that it can do is cause fragmentation, which means breakages in nocturnal species habitat. So bats, for example, that fly around at night, and they really have a hard time with the lights, and the pathways that they'll normally travel change because of the lights that are on. So light pollution affects us, it affects our metabolism, and our metabolism is how we process sugars and helps us get through our day-to-days. And our metabolism is regulated by hormones, and one of them is melatonin, which is also regulated by the planet's light and dark cycles. That's an important part of animals, is their light and dark cycle, and when we have lights on during the night, that kind of impacts that. Melatonin also helps us bring enough energy towards the heart so that the heart works properly. And it was shown in mice that when mice were underneath a light at night for all night, they had a harder time processing glucose, so glucose stayed in their bloodstream for a lot longer. And so the same thing would happen to people. When the moon comes out, a lot of animals are impacted by the moon, and they change their cycles. So the kangaroo rat, what it does is it really likes darkness, so when the moon is out, it doesn't go out as often to find food. So for that night, it kind of stays to the shadows to stay away from its predators, different owls. And when we have lights during the night, all the night, then this can impact them for a longer period and can give an advantage to the owls.
So as you can see there on the highway, there's a little red light coming up to the road. This is an example of lighting that's fully shielded from up above, so only the road is lit. It is still too bright of a light, but it's a lot different than the lights in the background where you have all that uplight going up, which is wasted light and impacts the migrating birds and the astronomical view of the sky. So the one in the foreground is a lot more environmentally friendly and is the way we want to start building our city lights, so that you can still see what you need to see. Because we're always talking about, it's not about having dark ground, it's just about having dark skies.
So can you tell us what the Anne-Sandy Cross Conservation Area did to protect nocturnal skies?
Right, so in 2010, we decided that we wanted to do something to protect the dark skies, because it is very important to the ecosystems and has a very large impact. So we approached the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada, to become a dark sky preserve. However, we discovered through the application process that we weren't actually able or eligible to become a dark sky preserve because we are not open to the public at night. We are a wildlife reserve underneath the Alberta government, so we have to close our doors at 11 p.m. and open them again at 4 a.m. So we weren't allowed to become a dark sky preserve because there'd be no place for astronomers to come and view the night sky. However, the Calgary Light Abatement chapter of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada still thought this was a very good idea, that we should do something to preserve our darkness, so they started a process to make up a new designation called a nocturnal preserve, where the main purpose of the nocturnal preserve is just to preserve the dark sky for the ecological benefits and for the environment and the animals and the plants that all rely on it. So they started this process. We went through auditing with our lights and found out which ones we had to change to point downwards, and which ones we had to get rid of if they're too bright, because they have to be below 3000 Kelvin in order for it not to impact the circadian rhythms of the creatures and the organisms around here. So we did that, and they got the designation passed, and then in 2015 we became the first nocturnal preserve in Canada, which was very exciting. And again, it was a large part due to the Calgary Light Pollution chapter, Light Abatement chapter, really pushing to say that this is very important, especially because the Rothmy Astrophysical Observatory is only a few kilometers away from us, and so they're going to benefit from our wildlife benefiting from the darkness as well.
Thanks.